Your life will absolutely suck if you do not have this in your life. And that one simple thing is a little something called balance. Okay? You must have balance in your life. You cannot live in these extreme ideas, right? Or these extreme lifestyles where it's this way or it's that way, right? I do everything like this before I do that, right? You can't live on extremes, right? At least not for very long, and at least not without it affecting your sanity. Okay, because it all boils down to your quality of life, guys. I always talk about this, right? What is your quality of life on a scale of 1 to 10? How good do you rate your life, right? For most guys, I'll tell you right now, they're probably going to rate themselves a 5. Like, yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's okay. I'm getting by. That's what we call coping with life, right? Most guys, it's a 5. You'll find very few guys who say it's an absolute 10, right? And if they are, they're kind of being a little hyperbolic, because I mean, it's really hard to achieve like an absolute 10. I mean, if you have an 8 and above, you're doing great, right? You're kicking ass. You're doing awesome. I mean, even if you could maintain a 7.5 to an 8, you're doing great. Okay, but it always boils down to what is your quality of life, and your quality of life will always suck when you are living in extremes, right? So, perfect example. So I have some bodybuilders who follow me, and I mean, I have some guys who aren't even bodybuilders that they're constantly working out, right? So they spend 6 days a week in the gym. They prepare all their foods. And I always ask them, I'm like, do you enjoy doing that? And they're like, yeah, I enjoy, feeling good about myself, feeling good about my body. And I'm like, do you ever give yourself a break? And a few of them said, I want to, but I like going on these perfection, and I definitely understand that. I like to go on these perfection diets where I don't give myself any break at all. And I just eat, chicken and spinach 24/7. And it's like, okay, well, where's the balance there? Do you have a competition coming up that you're competing for where it's big, you're going to get some trophy or something? No, I don't compete professionally anymore. Okay, well, what's the point of this then? Right? I mean, wouldn't you just be happy if you were just in shape and you don't have to maintain this crazy extreme of like, Mr. Olympia or anything like that? So I always make them think about that. Like, how is this? I always question, like, how is this affecting your quality of life? Is it making your quality of life better, or is it making it worse? Is there room for some more balance in there? Right? I always talk about like how you just can't go. I mean, it's kind of like these nihilists, right? that promote certain ideologies, like in the manosphere, like these very nihilistic ideologies, like, nope, this is the way it is. If you are not a male model, if you don't look like a perfect 10 guy, you are never going to get a woman in your life, and women are only going to use you for your money, and and all this. I mean, that's like just asininely extreme, right? Because I mean, as a professional pickup artist, I've dated hundreds of women, mostly beautiful women, and I would say the majority of them were not anything that a lot of these nihilistic guys in the manosphere describe, right? But they've just completely swore off women. But again, you have to ask yourself, where is the balance there? How is that affecting your quality of life? Right? So it's like, oh, well, I don't want to get me too'd. Oh, women are crazy now. Well, it's like, okay, dude, really? You can't find a non-crazy woman? You can't find a woman who's not going to me too you? There are plenty of them out there. I go out 4 to 5 times a week. Give me a break with that, right? 4 to 5 times a week. I've dated hundreds of women. I've never once been me too. Knock on wood. Right? But I'm careful. And I can see the signs a mile away. If the chick has like any hostility or anger towards men, or is just promoting like any type of feministic type values, or any like extreme wokeness, I stay away from her, because now she's on the extreme, right? It's like, nah, that's not how I live my life, right? I like to live my life in balance, just like the same where I don't like to constantly just like put this insane amount of pressure on myself to constantly work 24/7 and never give myself a break. And I think it was Kevin Samuels who was promoting that, and RIP. But he was promoting that one time, and then next thing you know, he's gone, right? He probably didn't expect he was going to go. But I mean, this is what I mean. It's like, dude, if you are going to go at some point, you want to go knowing like, hey, even though my life ended early, I had a great quality of life, right? I was enjoying life. Life was good. I wasn't just spending all my time, pounding the pavement or, trying to crush it 24/7. I was like giving myself little breaks here and there, which I always tell you guys, it's important. Give yourself little breaks from time to time, right? Take some mini vacations if you can afford to, or even just get out of town a little bit. Go for a drive, right? Give yourself these mental breaks, and don't put like massive pressure on yourself to the point where you're not enjoying life. I understand you need to grind and you need to like reach certain goals, especially when you're not where you want to be in life, right? I did that myself. I went full monk mode for 3 years, which was a little excessive, right? I wish I could kind of go back and change some of that, but I did get traction in my business. And it eventually became successful, but that's time I'll never get back. And that was a time where I stopped dating completely and I just focused on my business. And, I mean, now it just is what it is. But I mean, I wish I could have changed a few things about it and just give myself a little more break. But you have to have that balance in life, right? You can't just go to these extremes where it's like, all right, gonna go on this perfection diet of, no carbs, no sugar whatsoever for the next year. I mean, you can do it till you reach certain milestones and then give yourself a little break and then go for the next milestone, take a little break. I mean, even in NASCAR, right? You see these cars, they have to pit, right? You ever watch NASCAR? These cars have to pit. They can't just stay out there on the track racing because their tires are going to wear out, they're going to run out of gas, and it's just kind of a little mentally exhausting for the driver to constantly be driving at like 200 miles an hour around the track with no break. You have to be able to pull in there, kind of put your head back, drink a little bit of water before you get back out. So it is important that you have balance in life, right? I mean, I was just coaching a couple of guys actually who kind of live in these isolated towns. They don't go out much. They haven't really engaged with other humans in a long time. And I was telling these guys, if it's not affecting you now, it will later. And if it affects you later, I don't want this to become permanent. You need to engage with other people, right? You need to have that balance. You can't just isolate yourself, right? You have to have balance in your life. Or I mean, even just like talk about dating. I mean, I've had some students who have come from a breakup where they were codependent on their partner, right? It's like, and I see couples like that from time to time. It's like all they do is spend 24/7 together, no breaks whatsoever, because they're so codependent on each other. There's no balance, right? They never have their own like alone time or time with friends. I've known a couple of guys like this. Like they're always with their girlfriend. They completely flake on their boys. Like anytime that their girlfriend is not available, that's when they'll hang out with their boys. But the second she's available, he abandons his boys, right? That's not balance. And usually those guys get dumped anyway. Right? Then they end up in my program. So you have to have balance in everything, right? You just have to have that quality of life as high as it can possibly be, right? I mean, even with my own girl, we've been seeing each other now 3 years. Terrific girl, good girl, traditional girl, supportive, young, and even with her, I had to establish like certain boundaries where I'm like, because she's young, she's like thinking that we're going to be together 24/7. But luckily, she's pretty independent too. So I'm always like, at times, say I go off to Vegas, and I'll tell her, like, for example, like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm just going to drive out there. She's like, don't you want to wait for me? I finish work in a couple of days. I'm like, no, I need that mental. I need to be alone for that drive, and it's therapeutic for me. It gives me a chance to kind of recharge my batteries and not have to entertain you or anyone else for that matter. And I'm like, just fly out there, I'll pick you up at the airport. And sometimes she doesn't get it, but I'm like, I need that time, right? I need that me time. And it's just part of just keeping my quality of life high, right? Where I just, I need to have that balance. Just like with my diet. I mean, we're talking about the bodybuilders in the beginning of this coaching video. I used to go to the gym probably close to 6 days a week myself, like 5 to 6 days a week. I was always working out. Where did this come from? This came from me being an athlete, right? I used to play football, like from high school to college to semi-pro. And I was constantly just used to being in the gym, working out, right? I was just used to doing that. And then once I stopped playing, I noticed I kept going to the gym. And I was like, why do I still go to the gym? I mean, it was taking up so much of my time too. To constantly go to the gym, you have to drive there, and then you have to drive back. You have to go in traffic. Sometimes a lot of people, like during peak times, there are people on the weights. You have to wait and all this other stuff. So I started asking myself, do I really need to be, 190 pounds and maintain this weight? And, I don't. I'm like, I'd be happy with a swimmer's body if I could just cut down my gym time. So that's why these days I really only go to the gym twice a week, sometimes 3, but usually twice a week because I have other things I want to do with my time, right? Sure, I've lost a lot of the muscle I had when I was playing football, but I don't really need that muscle on me right now because it's like, I'm not going to be throwing a football anytime soon. Right, maybe for fun, but I'm not going to be like competing competitively anytime soon. I have a business to run. I teach pickup artistry. I teach self-development. My lifestyle's changed. And, and for most of the girls that I date anyway, they prefer like a runner, swimmer's body. So that's pretty much what I have. And I don't really have that like stocky body that I used to have anymore, which is cool because it's easier on my legs and I feel faster. I feel more nimble, and I'm just quicker on my feet. But I cut down my gym time to twice a week, and not only that, but I just eventually just created a home gym where I don't even have to drive to the gym anymore, because that became a pain in the ass. Because I noticed I was like driving to the gym, and then I get hungry on the way back, and then I'd stop and I'd like eat something, and I'm like, that was not always good for me. But still, I was able to cut down my gym time because it was affecting my quality of life. I was like, I don't want to be here 5-6 days a week, man. And even the days I was going, I was starting to hate it. I was like hating, like, oh God, I go to the gym today. I was hating it. Where once I cut it down to 2 to 3 times a week, I actually enjoyed it. I looked forward to it. I was like, yes, going to the gym today, or yeah, I got the gym tomorrow. I actually look forward to it, right? And I feel good when I do my workout, and I do a better workout because I'm into it. I have a better attitude. Rather than back before when I used to go 5-6 days a week. I hated it. My attitude sucked. I just couldn't wait for it to be over. I was just forcing myself, right? And it was affecting my quality of life. So you have to ask yourself, where do you draw the line in the sand where whatever you're doing is affecting your ability to have balance and it's lowering your quality of life? Okay, because if it's not raising your quality of life, it's lowering your quality of life. So you got to knock out those things and those people for that matter, which I didn't even get into, like any people in your life that are toxic, that are affecting your quality of life. You got to get rid of those people, right? Because again, it's all about balance. You can't have balance when you have the wrong people in your life. But as always, drop your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think of tonight's coaching video. Anything you'd like to add, anything I might have missed that you would like to share, please drop them in the comments below. I always love to see you guys in my comments. Always love to read your comments, so please feel free to drop your comments below. And until next time, this is Matt Cross from Alpha Male Secrets, signing out here from my Range Rover, right? This is one of the last series of coaching.